I'm Sean Bass. We're on Cowboys Countdown to Kickoff. Halftime of the Cowboys and Chargers, Dallas leading 14-11. What a wild-ass play there at the end of the first half is Dak doesn't take the Hail Mary, which is probably a smart thing considering he had a shoulder issue in camp and couldn't throw for a few weeks, but he throws it to CeeDee Lamb. Lamb cuts all the way across the field, does a lateral pitch like an option to Zeke, and Zeke was, 2 yards shy from scoring a crazy touchdown.
They gave it a great chance. It reminded me of that play against Kansas City against Dallas when Zeke was suspended, and they were able to find a way to get in the end zone there. First time in NFL history that a halftime score was 14-11. Never would have known.
Yeah, the Chargers, when they scored to make it 14-9 instead of the PAT, they go for 2. That just shows you how aggressive both of these coaching staffs think they need to be because they understand that this is probably going to be a high-scoring game. And, Dallas, opening drive, they go 16 plays, they score a touchdown, but they go for it on fourth down inside their own territory. And then they go for it on fourth again. And they had, 13 total third down conversions in the first quarter, which – that's great. And those
tied an NFL record.
And those critics that want to say, hey, you didn't run the ball enough against Tampa, you got to be pretty happy with what you're seeing so far because we talked about in the pregame, as good as this Chargers defense is and the Brandon Staley, the head coach, is schematically, he can make you think that you can be run on. And they were running the ball pretty well with not only Zeke, but also Pollard and CeeDee Lamb. Yeah.
So Dallas has done a really good job of really staying within their game plan and getting all their weapons mixed up. Dak on his first drive completed passes to 6 different receivers, getting Pollard and Zeke. It's good to see that they're both making guys miss. Even with the offensive line questions that we have with Lyle Collins, we haven't really noticed Joey Bosa too much. So that is good. And going back to your point about both coaches feeling like they have to be aggressive, the ironic thing is kind of that aggressiveness that has pushed this game maybe into that reckless area where we're having a lot of penalties.
Yep.
Because really, when you think about 14-11 at halftime, that's a 28-22 game that doesn't feel as high scoring as what both these coaches feel like it would need to be to win. And obviously, if it gets to 30, or if Dallas doesn't get to 30, then we know that there's probably a pretty good chance they're not going to win.
Yeah, because the Cowboys haven't won a game since 2018 where they haven't scored 30 points, which is hard to really get your arms around, but that's the case. And, it was good to see this defense extend its takeaway streak to now 9 games, which I didn't realize that until I was doing some research this week. But they had 4 takeaways against the Bucs. They get an interception, and the interception by Diggs was an incredible individual play because Keenan Allen had the inside position on the slant route, and Diggs went up and over the receiver and made a hell of a pick.
It's been a long time since we've had a Cowboys corner that's been able to capitalize on these type of plays that is actually taking the ball away and not playing just to to break up the pass, to play in these trailing positions. The only interceptions that seemed to come in the past for the Cowboys defensive players were either after a tip pass or something like that. It had to be really a crazy play, but he's a guy that goes out there and just takes what looks like completions and flips them into interceptions. I mean, he's, 6 interceptions now for Diggs in his 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's
first Cowboys player
good
to do it since Leroy Jordan.
Wow.
In the first 2 games of the season.
It's going back quite a ways. And Jaron Kearse, who played 42 snaps against Tampa last week, getting more playing time this week at safety. Obviously, some of that's because Donovan Wilson has a groin injury. But, he got called for a defensive pass interference where the ball got tipped up in the air and he intercepted it. I'm sorry. We see a lot of pass interference both ways in the league. That didn't look like PI at all.
I agree. I think you got robbed on that one, and really give credit to this defense for keeping the San Diego team, which we know they have talent. Mike Williams is a problem. Dallas has got to find a way to slow him down because he's finding ways to get open. Whoever he's trying to cover him, he's a big guy that seems to find ways to get open like a smaller receiver. But Austin Eckler is starting to also have a little bit of impact in this game, and Dallas needs to make sure they continue to corral him. But I'm very, very surprised that Micah Parsons is playing as well as he has at that defensive end. He went up against Slater, did not have much success.
Move him over to the left side.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and go against the right tackle. And he's created enough pressure. And actually on the Leighton Vander Esch sack, it looked like it was created by Parsons winning on the edge.
Yeah, he collapsed
and
that whole
Herbert
edge.
Having to come up.
He stepped up in the pocket, and LVE was there to clean it
Yeah,
up.
thank you.
You know what? I will say this: as much as we like to harp on the linebackers, Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, both have done some good things in the first half. That's positive. By the way, it's halftime. If you're just tuning in, he's David Newbury. I'm Sean Bass. Cowboys lead the Chargers 14-11. Obviously, you have the post-game show with Donovan and Jake and George Dunham this week. You're tuned in to us right now, our HSOs. So a lead heading into the second half. This defense is forced a one takeaway, nearly a second. What do you think they have to do to try to bring this one home? Obviously, offensively, you want to keep executing because you're going to have to keep scoring points. But I guess my concern or worry is what can this team do defensively to try to seal things up?
Well, first of all, they got to stop making these mistakes. Dallas really dodged a bullet at the end of the half because they finally got to stop. Herbert had 15 straight completions. They forced a punt.
Yeah.
And then Dallas on 4th and 20 roughs the punter.
Yeah.
And in the defense, it did kind of look like there was holding going on and that the Chargers player pulled him into the punter. But regardless, I felt like
that's
Dallas,
always going to be called.
I felt like Dallas took an unnecessary risk trying on the punt block there on 4th and 20 situation. Just get off the field, get the ball back, but ended up having nothing came out of it because the Chargers missed the field goal, hits the upright. And that's what led to the crazy play at the end of the first half. But on offense, Dallas, I think they're doing fine. Just stop getting yourself in trouble with these penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid these long, 3rd and long situations. But I think as long as the offense doesn't try to force too much, I think they'll be fine.
One other quick thing, special teams wise, we've seen penalties on both teams. The special teams factor we haven't seen yet is Greg Zuerlein in the kicking game. I mean, he's hit PATs tonight, but they didn't go for the 59-yard field goal earlier in the game. They decided to go for it on 4th and 5, didn't convert. Do you think that's a product of maybe them not being as confident in him right now after missing 2 last week, or was that just a game situation there?
I think that was more the game situation. McCarthy, you could kind of tell before that, before they called timeout, the play was a spread option, and Dak was going to keep the ball and run.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a clear signal that they were going to play for 4th down there in that situation. I don't think they had any intention of kicking the long field goal. Maybe it says that, yeah, they're not 100% sure that it's worth it right now. Maybe once Zuerlein is a little bit more consistent down the season, they might go for it. But for me, it was more about they planned to go for it in 4th down and just didn't pick it up that time.
Well, the positives here at the half, Cowboys lead the Chargers 14-11. They have a lead at the break. Dak Prescott has been very sharp outside of the one interception where he overthrew CeeDee Lamb. This defense is somehow manufacturing enough pressure against Herbert, and a lot of that's coming from Parsons. If they can do all those things and not shoot themselves in the foot in the second half, maybe Dallas comes back 1-1 instead of 0-2. So that's it for us as far as our HSOs at the half here on all of our streaming platforms with the ticket. We do implore you to not only listen to the post-game show today with Donovan, Jake, and George Dunham. We also have the Chiefs and Ravens tonight, Sunday Night Football, right here on the ticket. So keep your ears listening.